Hello everyone and welcome to Flickering Myth, an extension of the website flickeringmyth.com. My name's EJ Moreno and today we are diving into a brand new review of Men in Black International.
We are the Men in Black.
Men in Black International is the newest film from Sony Pictures in the Men in Black franchise. This serves as a bit of a reboot from the 90s franchise that had Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. Now we're replacing them with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. While the actors are just as strong, I love Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth in this movie and in other movies. But the movie around them is so sadly generic, it's so paint by numbers that there's really not a lot to talk about with Men in Black International. Yes, if you put the scripts from the first 3 Men in Black movies into a computer and the computer fed out a new script, that's what it felt like Men in Black International was. There were so many cliches, so many tropes that they fell into, so many lines of dialogue that were so cringy, so action movie perfect, like, oh, a gun that I like, check please. There's just so many of those lines that make this feel so flat. Honestly, it honestly felt like they put a fresh new coat of paint on an older Men in Black movie and they were like, there you go, here's some 90s action lines, here's some cheesy action scenes, hope you enjoy. And that's all that they really gave us. It's actually pretty sad because director F. Gary Gray is a pretty solid director. His early films like Friday and Set It Off are really memorable films in filmography. Like, his filmography is pretty bold, you know, even with some of the newer films like the Fast and Furious entry he did and Straight Outta Compton. He's a competent director, but here it just felt like a bland, generic director. Honestly, anyone could have directed this. You could have told me Barry Sonnenfeld from the original franchise came back and directed this, and it would have felt the same. This is sad because F. Gary Gray has a vision, and that vision wasn't shown here. This is, like I said, a paint-by-numbers script, a paint-by-numbers entry into the Men in Black franchise. To be honest, this almost reeks of the Ghostbusters reboot. That, like I said, that fresh new coat of paint on a established franchise, and we're just supposed to accept it with those cliched lines, with all those typical stuff that we've seen time and time again. Guess what? In this movie, they're looking for a tiny thing that can change the world, and there's gonna be a tiny little alien-like thing, and oh bad, the big alien at the end is a giant alien. Again, these movies have just been done and done again. That is actually pretty sad, because this movie could have been a little bit fresher. It could have been newer, with Tessa Thompson, with Chris Hemsworth, even Liam Neeson as the kind of the older man running this. There's a lot there that they could have played with, but sadly, no one got to have any fun in this movie. Not the people in the movie and not the viewers. One of the biggest highlights of this movie is one of the comedic reliefs, and that's little alien Pawnee played by Kumail Nanjiani. He is so good in this movie. As soon as he gets on screen, he breathes new life into this dynamic. Sure, like Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson are playing new characters, but they feel so similar to that Will Smith, to that Tommy Lee Jones dynamic. So adding that little alien Pawnee into it really shifted their dynamic, really added stuff. I love how he treated Tessa Thompson as his queen. I love his beef with Chris Hemsworth's character. That was so good. Humor like that, characters like that, action like that would have made this feel so much more different than the other entries. And honestly, this does feel a little bit different than the entries because this is a lot weaker. This is a lot more generic. With a story we've seen before, with acting we've seen before, with a script we've heard before, there's really nothing fresh and new inside Men in Black International. This is really hard for me to suggest because honestly, you could just pop in a DVD of the older ones and still get a satisfying experience. Would this make a great movie to watch on a weekend, like on a streaming service or on your favorite TV channel? Yeah, sure. I think Men in Black International serves good for that. But to go to a theater to experience it, I don't think it's worth it. Honestly, I don't think this really screams of like, we don't want to lose the rights to this movie, so here's another entry. That's what this feels like, and that is kind of sad that this feels more hollow and generic than a full-on piece we could enjoy. Alright everyone, that is my review for Men in Black International. It pains me to be this mean to a movie. I overall try to find the positives in every movie, and there is some positives here. Tessa Thompson, Chris Hemsworth, their little alien friend Pawnee, everything there was great. The movie around them, not so much. So it is disappointing to be this negative, but I do not recommend Men in Black International, at least for a theatrical run. Maybe down the line in the ancillary market, like in an airplane, in a hotel, something like that, but not to rush out to the theaters to see it. What do you guys think of this review? What do you think of the Men in Black franchise? Are you excited for International? You might enjoy it. The crowd around me seemed to enjoy it. The critics with me did not. So take that as you will. But what do you think of this movie? Are you excited for it? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those very seriously. Thank you so much for tuning into Flickering Myth, and let's talk about Men in Black in the comments below.